What is up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I have a very special pair today to unbox. You guys already know what it is, and I hope you're interested in this as I am. These are a pair that I think most people are pretty divided on. Maybe even not divided. I think for the most part, these, aren't really, sought after or coveted or wanted or viewed as a dope shoe by many. I think those that are interested in it at all are just, because they are an off-white collaboration, which we won't get too many more of. And, they were designed by Virgil Abloh. So that carries some of it. In a vacuum, I don't know how many people would be on this shoe, in all fairness. But I think this, from what I've seen, these are pretty dope. And I like the story. And we'll see. Now I have them in hand, so we'll get to see them up close and personal rather than just pictures, and that will be the true test. But I have positive vibes toward these, and so we'll all try to keep an open mind when examining these. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Nike Air Terra Forma in Summit White and Clear Cobblestone, size 11.5. I did get these off the Shock Drop, the Sneakers Live Shock Drop, the Sneakers Live from, it was the Virgil Abloh Codes exhibit in Miami at the Rubel Museum during Art Basel. For me, only this pair showed up as available. I don't know if the wheat pair showed up as well, because there is another pair, but they were doing a discussion on stage inside the museum at the Off-White Virgil Abloh exhibit, Nike exhibit, discussing, his legacy, but specifically these shoes where they officially debuted. And I wish I could have been there. It was dope. If anyone was there, happens to be watching this, let me know in the comments. Let me know how it was. I really was actually considering going out for it, but that's a chunk of change to drop short notice. So I did watch the Sneakers Live, though. It was very interesting hearing the designers talk about this pair. And we'll take a look at it and then see if some of what he was saying, they were saying in it. These retail for $210 plus tax and stuff. I forget what it came out to, but yeah, an expensive shoe. I was expecting it to be an expensive shoe. That was a giant box. Do you see how big this box is and what the box came in? These are some chunky shoes. A lot going on with these, so I expected them to be pricey, but stoked to get them sort of pseudo early. These will be dropping on the Sneakers app here in a couple weeks for a wider release, and I think probably some other retailers will get them. But they're already up on StockX, people who got the pairs like me early, and they're not going for a ton over retail. So I think you'll have if you're interested in these after this video, you'll have your chance to get them, because I don't think a lot of people are vibing with these. So if you like them, you'll be in luck. Here you got the Off-White logo, Swimming Man logo, safety deposit, orange safety deposit box in quotes there, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like the Nike orange box, but more off-white, and there's no Nike branding. It's all off-white. Signature design language with the quotes, and where you keep precious things in a safety deposit box. Let's see what's inside here. We got off-white branding there, and the Nike logo. Here, let's see. Can you see that? There you go. Logo lockup. Got off-white Nike paper, orange paper inside. Here we'll see the grand unveiling. You can see on the side there, this side up, kind of like a delivery box. And Nike was quick with it on the delivery. Shouts to them for the quick delivery. I've got a lot of other shoes coming that have been delayed via shipping. So Nike's got their stuff together still, which is nice to see. Real quick before I reveal these, please subscribe. That would be dope, and sick of you to subscribe. It takes 1 second. Boom, done. And I'd appreciate it. But the other thing I want to touch on, of course, is that this happened shortly after, a year after his passing. and he passed away November 28th, shortly after Thanksgiving. And so this was kind of just over a year after his passing. And so, anyways, I'm going to do potentially more videos on Virgil and some stuff related to his design work and stuff. So we'll get into that later, but just wanted to point that out. And I also sound like a frog because I have a cold. I apologize, but I wanted to get this video up since I got these early. So bear with me in my voice. What? Oh, man. Look at these. Look at these. That's... have to, you know, takes the words out of your mouth. Have to just there's a lot to take in. A lot to take in. These are wild. So first thing is, like, these are not an everyday pair, in, you know, probably in your opinion, probably most people's opinion, my opinion included. But why I did want to pull the trigger, other than being a Virgil Abloh fan, is just like, I don't have a pair of designer shoes. And I figured, you know, if I was going to, you know, I'm not going to ever buy any Balenciagas or anything like that. If I was going to buy a pair of designer shoes, rather than, I could just buy a pair of Off-Whites, but those are even more expensive than these. I feel like you get a lot of value, even though these are expensive, for $200, rather than paying like $300, $400, $600 for a regular chunky shoe. If I'm going to pay $200 for a shoe, you get a lot right here, a lot of stuff. And a lot doesn't always mean better or more, but this is definitely interesting, more interesting than a lot of designer shoes, in my opinion. So much going on here. That is what. Let me take out the other one, and then I'll point out some of the details here. So that was my thought process first. If I'm ever going to have a designer pair of shoes, here's kind of like a designer pair. And then second of all, even if I didn't like them, like love them to wear, you can just display this as an art piece, as a sculpture. And that's how Virgil looked at a lot of things. I know he did handbags and purses as like sculpture work, and this too, in its most literal terms. Some people are like, you know, sneakers can be artwork. This can be a little cheesy depending on how you're using it, but this, I think, quite literally, this can be displayed as an art piece. I don't think I'll have too many people arguing with me there. So for one, let's point out a couple of things. For one, the one thing I notice is this upper right here, not these leather strips here, these suede strips, but the leather right here this material is very similar to the mesh that's on top of the Air Force One mids that just came out, the Off-White Air Force mids. I got the white pair of those, did an unboxing video. A lot of people did not love those. Did not like those. They're actually available still. You can get those for retail or under retail, depending on where you look. I'm thinking about getting the black pair, but yeah, I'm thinking on it. But yeah, people really don't like those. And then the toe guard, the mud guard here is a rubbery material, kind of like a Gore-Tex type material, right? Synthetic rubberized material there. You have a clear mesh swoosh with the stitching, the zigzag stitching. It's kind of Off-White familiar. You have the orange tag, also familiar for Off-White. You have the Nike Air Inner Space labeled there. That's very Off-White to kind of label the obvious. You do have an Air Max type bubble, and this is I think the most important. We'll get back to the details. The most important thing about this shoe, I'll pause right here to mention this, like a very important detail, is this is its own brand new silhouette. This is the only Nike sneaker that Virgil Abloh worked on, where he created the design for this from ground, not from ground up, but he didn't. It wasn't his touch on an existing model. This was not an existing model of shoe. This was his own work with his design team that he worked with at Off-White and Nike, and the Terra Forma. What is it? Yeah, Terra Forma. Now it takes its design cues and silhouette cues from ACG, hiking boots, late 80s, early 90s. I wish that Sneakers Live was up. They don't keep those up. It was a really interesting talk. It's nowhere online. I don't find it on the Sneakers app. If someone knows where it is, drop it in the comments. But I wish they would keep that stuff up. But I tried to like rewatch it before making this video, but I couldn't find it. But they pointed out more specifically any models that this might have taken cues from. But yes, in general though, hiking boot from the late 80s and 90s, different silhouettes he gleaned inspiration from. And so this was his first original Nike design, which I think is cool. First and last, of course, unfortunately. And then they also mentioned it, the designer in that discussion at his exhibit, and the Sneakers Live mentioned that this probably was his, I think in my last video and the Blazers or the Air Force One video said that those were probably the last shoes he worked on. Well, he of course had many other designs for other shoes, but as far as ones he saw start to finish, I think those were the ones he saw start to finish, and this one he saw basically 90% through. They said there was a couple things with colors that they hadn't finished by the time he passed away, but he had overseen 90% of the design work on this. So it was just some final finishing touches that he wasn't around for. So this, in fact, is the what I would say is the final shoe that he worked on, that was in development, in manufacturing, or close to being manufactured. So anyways, back to the details. I really like this marble-esque 3-layer midsole here. You got multiple layers here of foam, and then you have the outsole on the bottom, which is this rugged, muddy outsole, which on the right shoe says tread, and then on the left shoe says lightly. So they're put together, tread lightly. Kind of a message about, a little bit earth conservation, and be careful how you treat the places that you go. I did know that the designer was talking in that discussion that they wanted to create something where when you made footsteps, it made a very unique and interesting footprint, and I think they probably achieved that here. This would be a wild footprint out on the beach, but I like how the matching marbling on the tread text. I think that's dope. On the inside of the foot, you got what's now common for Off-White. You got the inside info, Nike Air, and I don't think it says either. It says Beaverton, Oregon. Kind of the style code language. And here you have the name of the shoe. Is that it? Yep, Terra Forma, right there in between. In graffiti, you have thick laces. I don't see an extra set of laces, but you have a zipper 2-part tongue there, because the inside is like a booty, kind of like I don't know, was it the Moab, and is kind of similar with an inner sock liner or the Hirachi, as you can see there. A zip up tongue area, and then this super tall tongue, Off-White logo, Swimming Man logo, and I think the tongue gleaned inspiration from the Air Jordan 6, Virgil's favorite Air Jordan model. So yeah, and then you have these spikes. I know I too am not a lot of people aren't a huge fan of the spikes on the bottom of the shoes, and I'm kind of there with most people, but I do think it is unique. You don't see this on many shoes, and I like it for that. But yes, I agree with most people. I'm not a huge fan, but it's more about a function. It's just like functionally, I'm not going to wear these probably hiking. Oh, my Google Home just turned on when I said that. But functionally speaking, you're not going to use these spikes or cleats for much. Hey Google, stop. That was weird. Sorry about that. Google just got a little frisky on me. Let's try these on. But the spikes on the shoes don't stop me from liking the shoe, enjoying the shoe. But I wanted to curious what everyone thought of these in comparison to obviously the most probably arguably the most popular silhouette of all time, the Jordan 1. At some point you got to push the envelope a little bit. You got to do something that's not just the same thing. Like, you know, if we just did Jordans from here for the next 300 years, I mean, it'll still be a good shoe, but like it'd be pretty boring by year 200 of these. So someone's got to take it in a new direction. And so I'm glad that Virgil had the time to do a new Nike silhouette. Even if it's not for everyone, you know, you got to take some swings and just push things in different directions. So that's what I appreciate mainly about this shoe. And it's still wild. You know, even in a vacuum, I don't know how aesthetically pleasing it is to most people, but it's definitely a wild shoe, and I like that. Forgot to mention the heel tag there. I got these size 11.5. They're so chunky, I was hesitant. Usually my rule of thumb is go half size up on silhouettes that I'm unsure of just to be safe, but it's such a beefy shoe that I really didn't want to go bigger than I had to. So we'll see if that was the correct decision. I'd like to know what you guys think of the color, this one versus the white, the wheat colorway. I really dig the wheat one too. But for me on the sneakers app, this was the only one that was displayed, and my initial feeling was like I gravitated towards this white one more. I don't even know how I'm going to be able to get my foot in this thing. But yeah, I'm thinking of doing a video of. I'm thinking of doing a couple Virgil Abloh inspired videos. I never did one like right after his death. Couldn't figure out what to say. I just did a couple more unboxing videos, and I never did one now as a year anniversary. Just a little too morbid, and you know, wanted to be a little bit more celebratory. So I was thinking of actually doing, kind of going through all his books and pulling out interesting pages and quotes in his books. I have this one. I have the Nike one, and I also have this Louis Vuitton one. So I was thinking of going through. I already started marking some pages, going through and showing off in case you had the book or didn't want to take the time, pointing out some interesting parts. Let me know if you think that would be interesting. And then from there, could kind of maybe make a video on, you know, his philosophy on design work and kind of any words of wisdom. Kind of make it a little living YouTube cliff notes to Virgil Abloh's, not his work necessarily, but just kind of his mentality that went into designing in general, and then like specifically some products. A little tight to get into, but there we did it. Okay. Well, I don't know how many of you own Balenciaga Triple S's. I do not, but I do own a pair of Hoka hiking boots with a big booty, big heel. I kind of feel like those a little bit, to be honest, because that heel protruding. It's actually, I'm glad I went 11.5. There's plenty of toe room. 12 would have been like way too big. So for anyone wondering on sizing, it squeezes a little bit my toes, but the toe room, there's plenty of toe room. So my suggestion would be go true to size. If you went half size down, I think it would squeeze your upper of the foot too much, in my opinion. But I have plenty of toe room, so take that for what it's worth. This doesn't cut in because this is all just like this this material, this flexible, stretchy material. So it's not like hard rubber or anything, so that doesn't really bother me too much. Question is, would you wear these with shorts or pants? No, I'm wearing my Stance Raleigh Fingers socks. Probably not the pick for these. Sometimes I like wearing socks that don't match. That's kind of a true test of a shoe. If you get socks that don't really go well, like, does it still look good? I think these are wild. It's gonna be hard for me not to get the wheat pair. I probably don't need two pairs of these. They're so, you know, I'm gonna wear these like very specific occasions. Only on very specific occasions will I wear these, but I like these overall. Again, I mainly like them for the fact that this was like Virgil's last shoe that he primarily oversaw the design of and the making of. And then I like the fact that it's a new silhouette that he designed. And again, it's also just a cool art piece. Like, you can just put this on a shelf and it looks dope. But I will wear these to certain occasions. We'll see what though. But these are like, man, these are wild. Bring these out to a dinner party, you know? Let's see, what I almost don't want to give these a rating because, you know, I don't know if I want to give these a rating. Yeah, I'm going to forego giving these a rating this one time. Just suffice it to say, I think these are dope and I like them. But I think they're like in a different category, you know? These are a different category than your everyday lifestyle shoe. Kind of a memento to his work. Oh, inside there's the insole. The Off-White Swimming Man logo. I never really looked at the Off-White logo until this video and kind of like put it together, the hands and the face. So that is one thing that this video brought around. And you got graffiti in the back. I think that's the name of the shoe also, Terra Forma. Any other details I didn't point out? I don't think so. You got your signature zip tie, of course, that comes standard with all Off-White shoes. But yeah, I think it's hard to compare this to like, you know, this Jordan 1. I don't think they should be graded on the same scale. Anyways, appreciate you watching. Let me know your thoughts on these. If you don't like them, try to come with some constructive criticism, because I think it's easy for people to just sit back and type negative comments. So if you don't like these, I'll love to hear it, but in a constructive fashion, what you do different, or specifically what you don't like and why, rather than just saying this is trash. That's not very, that doesn't add a lot to the discussion. So yeah, let me know what you think. I really like the sole. I enjoy the sole. Again, functionally speaking, the spikes, maybe I could maybe just have spikes on the side, but these will wear down. It's more just initial design. But I really do enjoy the tread, this mud sole, because the whole point was like, what would an interesting track be in mud, sand, or whatever, and so then they used it for the outsole. So I think that's dope. It's kind of encrusted in like mud. Like, you ever play outside as a kid and you got your shoes super muddy? This is what they look like on the bottoms, you know, when you bring them in, just covered in mud, caked in mud. So kind of that playful, childlike design there, especially with these colors. Really like it. And I think these will be comfortable on foot here. There's a lot of foam cushioning. It is a little tight. I can already feel it being a little tight around the outside of my foot there. But I've had shoes like that before in the past. It will break in with time. This is, as you can see, it's a more stiff synthetic material there. So it's not going to give as much as like a soft leather. So it'll take some time to wear in. But then I think you'll be all right. Anyways, thanks for watching. More videos coming up soon.